Tire testing in the dirt track racing world has been a hot topic for many years now. Many arguments about the feasibility, how much time it takes, how expensive it can be, and who's doing it and who's not doing it, and how can we prove it? What if I told you that I know of a gentleman that has created a machine that can tell you on the spot if a tire is subject, needs to be flagged, and should probably be sent in? I hope you will all listen to this show today. It's about 35, 40 minutes long. Dennis Fogle from Pella, Iowa, has come up with a way to say, hey, I think we need to look at this.
Green flag in the air.
Everyone, welcome back to Hot Lappin' with Landman. And like you heard just a second ago, we have a great guest on the show with us today. Many of you may not be familiar with the name Dennis Fogle, but it's a name you're going to want to get to know because this guy has been doing his homework for 2 or 3 years now, and he has come up with a great tool that can actually take a look at a tire and say, hey, there might be something worth looking into this deal. You can do it on the spot at the racetrack. I got the opportunity to go down to Dennis's shop in Pella, Iowa this last weekend. He showed me the final production machine of how these things are going to work. I got a little bit of a hint about it back in August, and there's going to be a little bit in there about that too. But there's a lot of good information that we were able to learn while we were down at Dennis's shop. So I'm not going to wait around any longer here. I hope you'll enjoy the show, and I hope you will share this with all of your friends out there, all your racing buddies, because this is some great information and something that I believe in. And the other thing about it is they're going to be using it down in Tulsa for the shootout and the Chili Bowl. Without any further ado, let's bring in Dennis. All right, everyone. So we made it over here to Dennis Fogle's shop, and Dennis was nice enough to invite us over today to talk a little bit about the new creation that he has developed to look into tire testing, tire doping, and how all that works. And Dennis, thanks so much for having me down today.
Yeah, thanks for coming down, Lanny. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So what we talked about earlier was Dennis has created a device. It's a machine, a laser type machine that can detect tire dope in dirt track tires. And this is going from kart racing all the way up to sprint car racing and super late model racing. And Dennis, first of all, just tell me a little bit about how you got the idea and got excited to do this type of project.
Yeah, sure, Lenny. So my son races outlaw karts, and we've been racing outlaw karts since 2020. And in outlaw kart racing, doping is illegal. And we've never done the doping deal, but a couple of years ago, it kind of came to a head. And I was talking to a really smart crew chief in the karting world about what dope does to the tires. And then I was actually watching a Kenny Wallace podcast when the whole late model doping thing went down a couple of years ago. And I'm a laser guy by trade. And I got to thinking that if the dope does this to the rubber, if I hit that same tire with this type of laser, I should get this effect. And so I grabbed a known dope tire, kart tire that I got from somebody, and then a regular tire. And I went to my lab, my 3D printing lab, laser lab, and I did a little test just with a handhold, and by golly, it worked.
So when you say it worked, explain that just a little bit. You know, what were you looking for?
Yeah, so I shined a laser of a particular power at the tire, and I was looking for how long it took for it to combust or create smoke. And between the two types of tires, I got vastly different times or different reactions, and kind of what I was expecting. So, yeah, I was quite kind of surprised and somewhat expected too, but it did work.
So you come up with this idea. Now the next thing is you've got to fine tune it, and you've got to be able to back up to the people of who you're trying to sell this to. We're talking dirt track officials, sanctioning bodies, things like that. What's the first step to getting that going?
Yeah. So anyway, I played around in my own little lab for a while and tried to get repeatability, and I did get repeatability. So then it went from having a handheld device to creating a little jig and fixture. And then I went from my shop in town to my home shop where we're at right now with a different configuration, some cheap framework and a jig and a fixture. And then I got to a point where I felt confident to actually tell somebody about it. So Skip Jackson's a personal friend of mine. Skip Jackson's is a retired sprint car driver from Australia, now works in the tech department at Knoxville Raceway. And I called Skip and I said, "Hey, Skip, I'm working on something. Will you come over to my shop and take a look?" And when he did, and I said, "Skip, call BS on me." Uh, and he looked at it and he's like, "Huh, you're onto something here. Keep going." So I did. I kept refining it, doing my tests with lighting and airflow and laser power and type of laser and things like that. And then he said, "I need to go get Mike Profit." Mike Profit is more of a technical, manager at Knoxville. So we had Mike come over a few weeks later, and I said the same thing. I said, "Mike, call BS on me." And he looked at it and he's like, "Yeah, you're onto something. Keep going here." So I did, and I kept going through the winter months. And by May, we had it in a package where I could actually take it to Knoxville. So, and that package is that one right there. That's the first prototype that we took to Knoxville.
Tell us a little bit about your background, or your career and things like that would make you, I would say, qualified to use this type of technology for tire testing.
Yeah, sure. I got a degree in laser technology in '87, and I've been in the laser industry, mainly in 3D printing, for 35 years. The very first 3D printers were laser based, and it was the type of lasers that I used to do these initial experiments for the Ropa Doper. So my whole career, I've been working with lasers. Again, many different types of lasers, high power, low power, and that's just what I do as my core competence, and it's what I do for a living, basically.
And like you said back originally, and when we first started our conversation, just by dumb luck of listening to another podcast and not calling the guy dumb, I'm saying dumb luck, but Kenny Wallace was talking about the the challenges of racing against potentially doped up tires.
It was the heat where the dope actually heats up the tire faster, makes it perform better than an undoped tire. So if there's something in there that makes it get hotter faster, I should be able to hit it with a laser and see the same thing.
Another question I want to ask you, and first of all, I appreciate you sharing that information. I just want people to understand that there's a lot of knowledge that many, many years of lasers that go into this and give you the qualifications to, hey, this is what I believe is happening.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on is really the laser's making a spectrophotometric reaction with the rubber. And I know that's a big term, but it's when light hits something and you take a measurement off of that light coming back or what's happening to it. And that's what we're doing here.
Okay, just so everybody knows, it is the Ropa Doper, patent pending. Dennis Fogle has done that. And I want to show you guys something. I know it's trivial, but I just think it's super cool. The actual Ropa Doper logo, and I hope you implement that into all your machines, Dennis, because I think that is really cool.
It will be on every machine. I'm not an artist by any means, but I had that idea in my head, and my stepdaughter's a great artist, so she nailed that on the first try from my stick figure diagram. So
yeah, that's cool.
super happy.
So we're at the back of the machine, and this is what Dennis has told me. There's going to be two different size machines. One for basically the micros, the midgets, and the carts, which will be similar to this size right here. The black one, size-wise, will be for the sprint cars, the super late models, the dirt modifieds, things along those lines. So there'll be a larger size and a smaller size. So basically, one or the other can cover a lot of different aspects.
Correct.
So Dennis, we're gonna show us how we're gonna load this thing, and it works the same for everything. But this is just showing how we're gonna do it.
Yeah, they all work the same way. So you take the back door off and you grab a tire. It can be mounted or unmounted. The bigger tires have to be mounted because they collapse, but the small cart tires, they hold their own shape. So for this particular test, we'll just use this is a brand new D50 right rear outlaw cart tire. You slide it on the sliding stand. And then on this model, we have it marked for midgets and micros and carts. So you slide it in until the white line lines up with the black line.
Different sizes.
Okay. And then you put the back door on. Now, everything is interlocked. Because this is a laser device, I had to go through government testing, government certification on it. You just can't build a laser device and willy-nilly sell it to people because the Food and Drug Administration rules over that, and it has to be properly interlocked so that nobody can hurt themselves with the laser, because this is a higher power laser. So
That's good
anyway, the back
information.
door's interlocked. If the back door's off, the laser won't turn on. So we
Okay.
use Zeus buttons because we're a racing device.
Yep, exactly. So then you've got the tire, as I said, placed where you want it for the laser inside. And can we open this lid now, since it's not running?
Nope. Again,
Just
this
to kinda
is
show
interlocked
everybody.
also.
Yep. So inside there, you can see where the tire is. Then you can see I think the pointer, which is going right over here.
Yeah, that sets the depth, because the distance from the laser to the surface of the tire is a critical dimension. So that's why we have that pointer there.
Okay.
Based on the different circumference of the tires, you'll slide that into the mark, but then you can also adjust the laser back and forth to get it the right distance from the surface of the tire.
Okay. And then for fine tuning adjustments in there, because you don't obviously want to be on a groove, a sight, or anything else on the tire.
Correct.
You can also make those adjustments.
Yeah, so there's translation stages in there. You can slide the laser left and right and up and down to make sure you're on a clean, solid piece of rubber.
All right. So you got that in there. Do you have it where you want it now, or do you need to make any adjustments inside there?
What we do is we have a red laser here that we turn on, and the red laser tells us where the working laser is going to be. So we look in here at the tire, and like I say, right now, the red laser is on a groove.
Yep.
So we can either by hand move this over and put it right there, or if we want to fine tune it, we can turn our knobs this way and left and right. Yeah, and put it right where we want it. And then
Okay.
the laser, we can move a little closer to get the pointer, let's say about 1/8 of an inch away. So the red laser obviously is low power, so we can safely enter into the chamber and do our adjustments and not have any danger, with interacting with that laser.
Yep. Okay, so at this point, we're probably going to have to close the lid.
Yep. So we turn the red laser off, then we close the lid. Again, fasten, it's interlocked. The blue laser, the working laser, cannot turn on.
Okay.
Okay, so we're ready to do our test.
Yeah.
We should really kill the lights.
Yep, that's fine.
Because it'll shine.
So we've got the tire all placed in there now, set where you want it with the red laser. What happens from here?
So we make sure the blue laser switch is on enabled. That allows the blue laser to turn on. We have all the doors closed. And then we're going to hit the start test button. And when push this button, the blue laser, the hot laser comes on. And at the same time, a timer starts. And what we're going to do is observe inside the chamber and wait for a trail of white smoke to come up the black shield on the front surface of the black shield. And when we first see that trail of white smoke, we're going to make a note of the timer, how long it took, and there it is right there.
Yep. See it coming straight up. Yep, that white line right
Yep.
there, right above it. So that's your trail of smoke there. So then tell me, what's the relevance of the time? Because obviously there's a timer involved for some reason.
Yeah. So the time, my initial test, when I had the idea, I thought a dope tire should create a smoke before an undoped tire. And that's what we're looking for. So it's roughly half the time. So if the tire has dope in it, it's going to create that trail of white smoke in half the time of a brand new or an undoped tire.
Okay, so this test is done here. You got your time on it. This is obviously an undoped tire. You know that for a fact. So you take that tire, and then if you have something similar to that tire and it's faster, that's going to raise suspicion. Is that what
Right.
you're saying?
Yeah. So all the tracks that I've talked to, this is really a first line of defense. So if this smoke happens earlier than what would be expected of an undoped or a brand new tire, they might flag that tire, take a sample, send it to the labs that they've used in the past, and that will be the final determination.
So as we're roaming around here just a little bit, this was the prototype, and just a quick story for everybody else too. I learned about Dennis this year in August. I was at the Knoxville Nationals, of course, like any sprint car fan would be. And they were actually testing tires that whole week. Any heat race winner had immediately head to their pit area. A Knoxville official followed them over there. And we had to bring the whole wheel and tire to the tech shed, which is right up beside the scales in the tech area at Knoxville Raceway. And that's where I first learned about this baby. And Dennis was obviously in the research, probably, or not research, but fine tuning. They had a prototype, in which this one was right here that they were using. And that's where I learned about it. And Dennis, just a quick little story about our conversation at Knoxville and how that went down, if you'd be willing to share that with us.
Yeah, so Laney came in with the tire from Donnie Schatz, and just like all the crew chiefs had come in all summer long, they came in and say, well, this is pretty cool. Never seen anything like this before. Laney immediately whips out his phone and says, hey, can I video you? And I'm like, kind of in disarray. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So he's doing this quick video of me. And it wasn't until like that night or the next day, I'm like, hey, I don't want this to get out yet. So it's not ready. And Skip told me, he says, you're not ready for prime time yet. Let's not announce this too early until we really got this thing refined. So I went back and found Laney in the pits the next day. And I said, hey, dude, can you just hold off on this for a while until we're ready? And thankfully, Laney honored that. And that's why, we're here today. I really appreciate that, because it could have easily got in the wrong hands all summer long, and it could have maybe killed some progress.
Yeah. And I have some of that video too. I'm going to throw in this actual podcast from the actual Knoxville deal. It's pretty much, nothing's changed much. I would say just some of the, I would say maybe the outer casings a little bit and maybe some fine tuning, but I'm going to literally show you live in action at the Knoxville Raceway on the Friday night of the Nationals inside that room. I'm going to show a little bit of that. I still have that video.
So everybody, this is Dennis. He's in charge of the tire checking here at Knoxville. And the heat race winner, which we were tonight on Friday night, they asked us to bring our right rear tire over here so they can do a test on it. And I just want to show everybody what's involved in the test. So obviously this is a barometer, if anybody knows what that is, that tells the hardness of the tire. And obviously they have a benchmark they're looking for. Is that at the benchmark, Dennis?
Yeah, so I'm doing the temperature and the durometer just for my own data collection.
Okay, cool.
Knoxville, this isn't a pass fail on Knoxville. They didn't ask me to do this. I'm doing it for my own data collection. Yeah.
I'm all about it. I love checking.
This is a E15A, right?
Now this goes into this machine. I don't know what this machine does because I've never seen this before, but
So this is a laser-based machine. And what it does, I'm going to slide the tire into the chamber to a certain depth. And we'll close the chamber up.
we're closing it up right now.
Bring it over here.
Okay. Oh, look at that. There's a big old.
So what we have is a laser. We have two lasers. We have a pointing laser, it's the red laser. And it tells me where my working laser is going to be.
Okay.
And I want it to be on a good, clean piece of rubber, not a void.
Yeah.
Not a
site
hole.
or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, not a big site. I'm going to have to do some height adjustment here, which is easy to do.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I'm going to close it up. I'm going to turn my red light off.
Okay.
And I'm going to turn a blue laser on.
Okay. Looking for that.
So when I turn the blue laser on, I'm going to turn the timer on.
Okay.
And what we're looking for is we're going to look for a trail of white smoke to come up that shield.
Trail of white smoke.
Yep.
Okay. Let's.
Based on the time we see the smoke tells me whether I'm the tire's suspect or not.
Okay.
So laser on, timer on.
We're looking for a trail of smoke. I don't know if my camera's gonna pick it up because of the reflection, but is it gonna be down by that blue light somewhere?
It's going to be coming right up that black shield.
Right up the black shield.
Should be coming right up the middle.
45 X 74 and 1.
We're waiting for some smoke. Still waiting.
There it is. It's coming right up the middle. It's very faint, but
Okay. I don't think
if I
we'll see it
shut
on
that
here.
off, you might see it. You see it now? Probably not with your camera.
Probably not. That's
But
okay.
do you
But
see it? You see it yourself?
oh, yep. I see
Okay.
it now. Okay.
That happened in about 32 seconds.
That was 32 seconds. Is that like quick time?
That is normal.
That's normal. Well, I'm not surprised one bit with that, Dennis.
None of you top guys are ever worried.
No, we can't be.
So I'm going to do this 3 times.
Well, you do it 3 times.
Just for my own data.
Okay. Just for your own data.
Yeah.
So you said this is the first time on social media?
This is the first time on social media. I've been kind of undercover about it. I've been working with at Knoxville since spring with this device, and we've just been collecting a lot of data.
Yeah.
So it works really well, but that's the goal. Is to
The first one was 32 seconds. The second one was 20 seconds. And the longer it takes, the better, Dennis said. So we're waiting on this one, and this one's going to be a bigger number yet.
and there it is.
Yep. There's the
Right
smoke.
down the middle.
Yep.
Still
Yeah, that's cool. I want you to see it on the phone.
20 seconds.
And that was how long?
20 seconds.
20 seconds again.
That's consistent with last night's testing.
Yeah.
So with a right rear, if that durometer, that's what I would expect,
Yeah.
112 degrees.
So we had our temperature of the tire was 112. The time was 32 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds. So Dennis said anything like,
If it was 10 or 15, it would be suspect.
yeah, okay, cool. All right, well, I appreciate that. We're going to get our tire out of the bed here and go back and get ready for the main. But Dennis, I appreciate you doing that for me.
Thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
All right, you bet. And just so everybody knows, this is the 15th, the right rear off the 15th arm, Donnie Shops that won the heat race in game 1. So we're on the door, baby. Back to the races.
All right, so Dennis, we're gonna get to the point now where we're gonna defend the stuff that you're doing here a little bit too. So obviously, in order for you to get data, you have to start with your benchmark.
Yeah, the benchmark tire.
Benchmark tire, okay, which is going to be a new. And let's just talk right now because you've specialized in the sprint car world this summer over at Knoxville Raceway.
Mm-hmm.
Establishing your benchmark tire and taking it from there. How do you move on to get the info that you think you need to say, hey, we need to flag something?
Yeah. So what I showed all the officials this year is I have a sprint car tire that I purposely doped with common dope that people have gotten caught with. It's right there. Yeah.
It's the top one.
So
right?
the top one is the one that I purposely doped and always took to Knoxville to show officials what happens on dope tires. So this particular one I've doped with Hot Laps. I've doped with Daytona Blue, which is a common kart dope. I've doped it with WD-40, even tried Simple Green, which people talk about. And that's the one that I show all the officials, and that's the one that kind of shows them that, hey, yeah, this thing does work because I have a new or a known or one of their tires that they provide. And then I show the dope tire and it smokes in half the time. And they're like, huh, yeah, you're onto something here.
Most definitely. So what makes you confident that this is the way to go?
Well, the big downfall with using the labs, and it doesn't matter which lab, is time. So a track, whether they suspect issues or not, they will take a sample at the track and they'll put it in a bag and mark it properly and mail it or FedEx it to the lab. And it could take 3-4 days to get the results back. So you may have a champion on Saturday night and you may have a DQ on Thursday night. So with this, in 30 seconds, you can flag a tire or get a really good idea if people are legal or not.
And what you're saying, just for clarification, is you can't tell us what's in the tire.
Correct.
You can't say that this is 100% dope tire. What you're saying is this is something we should probably look into.
Exactly. The test from the Ropa Doper will say there's probably something in there other than just rubber.
So I hear the naysayers and the people say, well, if you're racing on a racetrack with other cars that have that same stuff in their tires, it's going to get on your tires. I know that to be non-factual. Can you help me back that up?
Yeah, I don't think it's true either. I've had people at tracks worry about, hey, somebody lost a bunch of oil and I drove through it. Is it going to show up on your machine? And my belief is like, no. I mean, dope gets into the rubber, deep into the rubber. And there's some doping that goes from the inside out, where guys will put it in through the valve stem, and and they'll do it like a week earlier, and put the tire on a roller, and a hot roller, and it works its way. So that dope has to go to the surface to do any good. And this device, the Ropa Doper, measures the surface, and if it was dope from the inside out, that dope's getting to the surface, and I think it'll pick that stuff up easier than the stuff that's going from the outside.
Yeah, and that's one thing I just wanted to touch on was the myths of racing on the same racing surface, driving through oil, soap at the car wash, things that literally it takes time to soak these things into the rubber. So Simple Green, I'd say use at your own risk, because it is going to detect it. If you wash your tires with Simple Green, I would say that's been a proven fact. But just curious to know your thoughts on those things.
Sure. It has to be applied over time to really do any good. And that's where, driving over something or a quick spray, you're not getting an advantage anyway. And the machine's probably not going to pick it up.
So Dennis, you've got Knoxville to come on board with you.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's a big step, because much of the sprint car world bases their rules around what Knoxville or the World of Outlaws or High Limit is starting to get their name in the game a little bit too. But these national sanctioning bodies are creating the rules, and you got the okay from Knoxville Raceway. The Outlaws come to town in April. I think it was late April, early May of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Talk us a little bit about how that was received by those people.
Yeah, so every major sanctioning body came through Knoxville last year. And during the early Outlaw show, I showed it to them. It was a 2-day show. I showed it to them behind the scenes after the races on a Friday night. And they were very impressed. And then we were planning on using it Saturday night, for the regular racers. But little did I know that after the A main of the Outlaw show, they parked the podium cars right outside the scales and made the crew chiefs pull the left rears, and they handed them to me and said, "Give these tires to this guy." And they were still hot.
Yeah.
So went in my little shed and tested all 3 of the podium cars on the A main of the Outlaw show.
And we were visiting earlier here. Tell me about the response of the said crew chiefs from the Outlaw teams.
Right. Overwhelmingly positive. They thought it was a great idea, and they thought that the sport really needed it. I think some of them thought they were probably racing against some dope tires, and they were all, excited to have this type of test, at the track.
Okay, so Dennis, with a new business product or a new racing product, obviously it said patent pending on the machine. Tell us a little bit about the business side of what you have going, the name, and where this is going to go leading forward.
Yeah, sure. With this new product, I decided I should probably start a brand new company. So I've started a company. I've named it Red Rock Racing Industries.
And he's got his own logo there and everything else, and I like it. It's cool.
Yeah. So I started a new company. First product is the Ropa Doper. Because I've gotten so much positive response and I knew I was onto something big, I decided to apply for a patent on the Ropa Doper. So that's patent pending. Patent pending protects me a bit from somebody, trying to knock it off, because it has been at Knoxville. There's been enough people see it. I am going to the Chili Bowl and the Tulsa Shootout with it. I have permission for them. They've told me to bring 2 of them down, and they will be using them actively for qualifying nights and feature nights.
So with lasers and technology like that, is there any safeguard? Do you have to have approval from government or the healthcare or whoever might use the laser side of things in the business world, is there any roadblocks or hurdles that you have to take care of going through that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my whole background in my career has been in lasers, so I didn't know enough that you just can't build a laser device and sell it willy-nilly to anybody. It has to be all laser devices are governed by the Food and Drug Administration, and you have to have a certification number in order to sell that product. So I did go through those steps this summer, and I do have my certification from the Food and Drug Administration that says it does comply with all those numbers with those subchapters in the government, so I can sell it.
And you can sell it legally.
I can
because
sell
you-
it. I can
yeah,
sell it legally. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we move forward with this, Dennis, obviously you build a product. The object is to first get it approved.
Mhm.
And it seems like you have the blessing of the Knoxville officials. It sounds like the outlaw officials seemed okay with it.
Mhm.
You're taking it to Tulsa for probably the biggest indoor race of the year, between the shootout with I don't know how many
Like
micro sprints.
1,600 plus.
Yeah, and then the Chili Bowl, which is the granddaddy of them all, and you have their approval too. So the object is to obviously sell these, and the more you read about it on the internet, the tire doping game has turned into one of the biggest. We could use the word drama or attention grabbers when people get busted. Let's just say that. So, but the ultimate goal is to sell these machines. Tell us a little bit about the pricing and how that's going to look moving forward.
Yeah. The end game for me is to have one of these at every dirt track. And I know there's a certain price point that dirt tracks can't afford. And I think that price point's around $5,000 to $6,000. So the goal here is to package this thing in such a way that we can sell it between $5,000 to $6,000.
And if you say you have a couple of racetracks in the same area, who's to say they can't work together and move that? And the machines, obviously, you showed me how we moved it around. It's like a wheelbarrow.
Yes.
So and it's not overly heavy.
No, the big one is like a wheelbarrow. The one for sprint cars and late models and modifieds be like a wheelbarrow. This one can be tabletop. Two people can pick it up quite easily. It weighs less than 100 pounds.
Yeah. So if the racetracks are saying, well, I don't want to take on that burden, maybe you get a couple guys to go together and they can move it around a little bit too.
Yeah, I'm kicking around a rental program too, for maybe some tracks, mainly like kart tracks that want to rent it for just the big events or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me about, it seems like I said just a few minutes ago that you've gotten the blessing from a lot of the sanctioning bodies. It appears anyway. What are some of the responses you've heard from the actual racers and crew chiefs?
Oh yeah. During the Outlaw show, we tested the podium cars after an A main, and all of those crew chiefs came in and said, "This is great. We need this." I have not heard from any racer at the top level or the top technical directors of all the sanctioning bodies that have said, "Yeah, this is bogus." Everybody has overwhelmingly said this is a good thing.
All right, so excuse me. All right, so Dennis, we've talked just a little bit about these things, but as you progressively move forward and people want the opportunity to buy them, tell us a little bit about how they're packaged, how they're shipping, and how they may interchange a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to design, although it looks like a big box, whether it's this one or the big car one, we've designed it in modular so that the guts here, which I call the engine, it's exactly the same, whether it's this model or the larger model. The only thing that would change is the outer shell. So the switch panel is the same. What I call the laser engine is the same. This could come out and go in either model. So the plan is to ship them as an assembly. So they would be packaged flat, and then the laser engine would be in a box, reusable, so that hopefully it doesn't get damaged in shipping if it's shipped flat on a very small skid. So the goal is that it's designed so that very easy assembly, just a few bolts and everything comes together. The laser gets in place. You don't have to be a laser technician. It bolts right in place and it's ready to go. 4 or 5 plugs and everything plugs in and it's ready to use.
They're literally interchangeable.
Yeah, I'll have them in inventory. So if for some reason this component goes bad, one plug, it slides off, throw it in a box and ship it back. If something wrong with anything down here, again, 3 bolts, a few plugs, the whole thing comes out and ship it back.
So I got to ask this also: what kind of training comes if you make this purchase? What are you going to come out and show us how to use it? Or
So I plan on making some YouTube videos. When I go to Tulsa, I'll be down there with a helper, and we'll teach operators down there how to use it. We'll be using it. We'll be operating it ourselves during the shootout and the Chili Bowl, but also be training those personnel how to use it. I think in 5 minutes I could teach anybody how to use this and be proficient in it. So I plan on creating a video on how to use it. And again, I'm always available, via phone, technical support. We'll just play it by ear.
Okay, gang. So that pretty much covers what Dennis Fogle here at Red Rock Racing has come up with here. The Ropa Doper. I thought it was awesome back in August. I can't tell you how much I appreciate Dennis inviting me down here to spend some time with me, show us all exactly how this thing works and what could possibly be ahead in the future that might level the playing field a little bit when it comes to the tire doping. I think it's a great concept, great idea, and I think it's very feasible too for these racetracks to be able to get into and do a little better policing. Like we covered in the deal, it's not going to tell you that it is a doped tire 100%. It's going to see probably about 99.9%, I'm going to say. It's going to flag the tire, and it's going to tell you, hey, this is probably something we need to look into. Is that a fair assessment,
That's
Dennis?
a fair assessment, yes.
Yep. So, Dennis, thanks again for having us down. And like we said, you can find this guy at the Chili Bowl, guys, taking your cars down there, taking them down to the shootout. You might be seeing him. That means you did really good. And probably be sticking your tires in one of these machines. So great thing. I'm looking forward to seeing how it works. And I know it's going to work because I literally got to see it in action in August and come down here. I am a firm believer. So everybody, thanks again for tuning in. And thanks, Dennis. We'll catch you later.
Yeah, thanks, Lanny.
So that was some great stuff. I had a great time going down there to Pella and getting to spend some time with Dennis. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you all sit back and think about the concept and appreciate all the work that Dennis has put into this. And like I said earlier, right before we went to the stuff from down in Pella, this is what I hope you will share with all your friends, your racing buddies. How about your track officials, your tech people at your racetracks, if you're racers or fans? $5,000 to $6,000 for a deal that's going to work for how many years and can literally tell you, hey, let's look at it. That looks good. I think what Dennis has done here is outstanding, and we'll try to keep up with it and let you guys know where it's at and how things are working along that. With that, thanks everybody for tuning in. I had so much fun doing this show, going down there and getting out of the studio a little bit and then getting back here and editing it up and stuff like that. So appreciate you all for tuning in. We're going to have another great show coming up here in the next couple of days. I can tell you that. Keep an eye out for that. But as always, thank you all so much for following and liking and sharing, and we will catch you next time. See you, everyone.